Good evening and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Eblomo Adekunle. Former Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control and ex-Minister of Information Dora Akunyili is dead. A former governor of Anambra, Peter Obi, confirmed the death of Dora Akunyili on behalf of the Akunyili family. Aged 59, Akunyili died after 2 years' battle with cancer. She was born in Makurdi, Benue on July 14, 1954. Akunyili attended the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where she made first class in pharmacy in 1978 and PhD in 1985. The deceased was elevated to the rank of Professor of Pharmacology in October 2000 by University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where she taught for many years. She was Director General of NAFDAC between April 2001 and 2008 and Minister of Information and Communication between December 2008 and December 2010. She anchored the rebranding Nigerian project driven by the slogan, Nigeria, Good People, Great Nation. She served the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria in various capacities, notably as the National Vice President of Association of Lady Pharmacists from 1992 to 1995. She left government in 2010 to contest election for Anambra Central senatorial seat on the ticket of All Progressives Grand Alliance. The Defense Headquarters has admitted conducting thorough searches on vehicles conveying newspapers and newsprints to some parts of the country. It says that the move was not restricted to a specific newspaper and is based on intelligence reports. Defense spokesman Chris Olukalade says there are security reports and movements of dangerous materials to some parts of the country using newsprints-related consignments. He added that the exercise had nothing to do with content or operation of any media organization or their personnel, as has been wrongly imputed by a section of the press. The management of leadership had raised alarm that soldiers had seized and destroyed copies of newspapers being moved to some parts of the country. American security personnel have met with Nigeria's military authorities with a view to sharing information on efforts to rescue the abducted Chibok girls. Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, disclosed this while giving a situation report on the search and rescue mission. He gave an insight into the engagement with the Americans, but insisted that concrete details would be kept secret.
That its determined efforts was not only containing the activities of the Boko Haram, but putting a stop to it. The Nigerian Military High Command, led by the Chief of Defense Staff and the service chiefs, they met with the leadership of the United States Interdisciplinary Team for Assistance to Nigeria. The two partners discussed the process in the collaborative efforts to recover the Chibok school girls. Accordingly, it was resolved that subsequent phases of the efforts will feature continuous engagement among the partners, while also recognizing the need for less pressure.
The police authorities have demanded increased professionalism from the rank and file now that the police have a self-accounting status. Inspector General of Police Muhammad Abubakar says he also expects prompt payment of salaries and transparency. He was speaking at a meeting with police finance officers at the force headquarters in Abuja.
The reorganization of the budget and account section of the force is a continuous one. Accordingly, the Commissioner of Police budget has been so directed to collate the data for police personnel with requisite accounting and professional qualifications, apart from ensuring the availability of this data for routine and administrative processes. It will enable the force design a proper mix of police and civilian accounting staffs at all levels of service within the department, from force headquarters level to the zonal level, to command level and command formation, including area commands and divisions.
The Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero, who died at the age of 83, has been laid to rest at his ancestral home, Nasarawa, in Kano State. Ado Bayero, who was the 5th Emir of Kano, died less than a month after returning to the country from a medical trip to London. The monarch's remains was interred at about 5:30 p.m. on Friday at his ancestral home, making him the 5th to be so buried. His domestic staff described him as a father of all. Ado Bayero will be remembered and honored by the people of Kano and all Nigerians for his immense wisdom and competence as a traditional ruler. The president also said the late emir used his exalted throne to build bridges of unity, friendship and harmony across the nation. A statement issued by presidential spokesman Reuben Abati indicated that President Jonathan reaffirmed his declaration at emir's 50th anniversary celebrations last year that he was one of the most decent and respectable Nigerians he has had the privilege of interacting with. He added that he will always treasure pleasant memories of their last meeting earlier this year. Senate President David Mark has described the late Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero, as a first-class monarch who will be greatly missed. He lamented that Bayero departed at a time his wise counsel is needed to navigate through the nation's trying times. The Senate President described the late Emir as a peacemaker who made Kano home for all. He also recalled that the late Bayero was among the few Nigerian leaders who worked hard for the unity and indivisibility of the nation, especially during trying times. Also, the All Progressives Congress has expressed profound shock and sadness at the death of the Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero. The party says his demise came at a time that his great wisdom and wealth of knowledge were needed to help Nigeria surmount its challenges. In a statement issued in Lagos by its interim National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, the party described the late Emir as a symbol of peace and unity in his lifetime. The APC stated that Bayero reached far beyond ethnic and religious divide to help foster a united Nigeria. It added that the emir's long and remarkable reign that spanned over half a century marked a period of prolonged peace and prosperity for his domain, which according to the party was a testimony to his much revered leadership qualities and his uncommon humanity. A clarion call has been made to all Nigerians to embrace peace and religious tolerance. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi made this appeal while commissioning the newly built Ebira Community Mosque in Odoro in Ekiti. Rashid was at the commissioning and filed in this report.
Uro community, a suburb of Inye Kingdom in Ifelodo in Repodun local government area of Ekiti State, is peculiar in nature, having the largest concentration of Ibiras in the state and who are predominantly Muslims. While commissioning the central mosque in Odoro, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi cited the Boko Haram as an example of how not to practice religion. He emphasized the essence of tolerance of faith and ethnic groups in order to have peace reign in the country.
I know that tolerance has a very big place in religion and in matters of faith, and we must be able to accommodate one another. We must be able to tolerate one another. We must be able to relate with one another, because diversity and inter-religious collaboration is very critical to peace building and conflict management in the world.
The sponsor of the mosque construction, Deji Adeshokon, stressed the importance of prayers and a befitting place of worship for God.
We should believe in Jesus Christ, believe in Allah, and focus our minds towards where we are going to after this place.
Asked if the gesture is to make the community vote for his principal, Kayode Fayemi, for second term, Adeshokon says the community have already benefited immensely from the government and are resolved to return the incumbent to office.
I don't want to play politics, but I know whoever, the Bible says, the gift of a man maketh way for him. Whatever I want from them, the Lord will lay it into their hands to do it for me. And there's nothing I want from them than to vote for my Oga. He's Dr. John Kawade Fayemi, APC.
Just few days to gubernatorial election in Ekiti State, the paramount ruler of Inye Kingdom, Oba Ademola Ajakaye, sued for prayers from Muslim faithfuls and Christians alike for the peaceful conduct of the election.
The mosque here is quite a big one, and it will take hundreds of worshippers. There is nothing we can achieve without prayers. This is a center for prayers. So my prayer is that God in His mercy will bring peace or continue to maintain peace in Ekiti State.
Odoro community and the kingdom at large will be a political flashpoint come June 21st as the souls of electorates are being fought for between Deji Adeshokun, former governor of the state, Otunbani Adebayo on one side, and the Labour Party governorship candidate, Okpeyemi Bamidele, on the other, as they all hail from the political active town. Rashid, CoreTV News, Odoro, Inye Ekiti.
Still in Ekiti State, Ministry of Women Affairs has granted microcredit facilities to women farmers in the state through cooperative and distribution of farm processing equipment. Rashid was at the empowerment program in Ado-Ekiti. His report.
The role of small and medium-scale enterprises in building a strong economy is said to be critical in raising the living standards of the poor. The director of cooperatives in Ekiti State, Ademola Ajayi, says it is important to empower women who participate actively in agriculture.
Cooperative in Ekiti State has been a very good leverage in supporting the community of Ekiti State. It has been helping, but most often his accomplishments or his results are not are hidden, not known. But when you go to the rural people, when you meet with the people that are really doing cooperative, you will see how it has affected their life financially, socially, and even in their daily economic activity.
The Commissioner for Women Affairs, during the presentation of funds through microcredit cooperatives, says Ekiti women living in rural settlements are to be supported to enhance their economic situation and to boost the overall economy of the state.
Under the Fadama program, we have a lot of women farmers who have been benefiting. And with all the agri inputs that the government is bringing in, cooperative loans, government has been giving to, as a gift to men farmers, they have been giving to women farmers so that they can improve their production, their yield, and also be able also creating a market for them to be able to sell their products.
The empowerment program was accepted widely due to early visits to rural communities by the governor's wife, Busy Fayemi.
So what I decided to do was register cooperatives for women on our farmsteads. So far, we have registered up to 45 of them. Today, we presented them with their certificates and with some capital for them to be able to start a revolving loan fund for the various cooperatives. We are going to be monitoring them to ensure that the funds are used adequately.
Beneficiaries are full of praises and promised to make good use of the facilities.
They've put smiles on people's faces. They've touched lives. So our prayer is a collective prayer. We are praying that God Almighty will give them the mandate so that they will continue the good work.
The empowerment program is expected to raise agricultural production and ultimately better the life of many of these rural women. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado-Ekiti.
Of the Lagos State University have continued their protest over the recent hike in tuition fees. The students are seeking a review of the fees, which they say is too high. In this report presented from our studios, Oluwaseyi Adegoke says the students marched to the State House of Assembly demanding a review of the hiked fees.
The student protest continued with the march to the House of Assembly. The students vowed not to leave until the Lagos State government makes a pronouncement of reducing the hiked fees.
The fee hike has really affected a whole lot of things. Studentship has dropped in LASU. We have more students dropping out. As it stands, LASU with a student population of over 24,000 in 2011 now has less than 10,000 in 2014. Now, as it stands, We have about 1,000 students that have dropped out already, and we have another 500 that have shown their intention of dropping out anytime soon.
I see no reason why we'll be paying them such amount. They should please listen to us and make us happy.
Former Students' Union President of the institution, Akim Animashaun, appealed to the students to relax as the government is looking into the issue.
They've given them the assurance that by next week, probably between Monday and Tuesday, they will know government position on the matter.
The Vice Chancellor of the institution, Oladapo Obafunwa, says the school fee issue concerns the students, parents and the government.
And I know that government is working assiduously with regards to the issue of school fees. So when any pronouncement is made, I'm sure we'll know exactly what's going to happen after that. The issue of school fees was not a factor. People trying to make it an issue now, or trying to get the students to react or do whatever, maybe they have their reasons for it. But like I said, they've made representations to government, they've made suggestions, and government is looking at that.
Obafunwa, however, advised all concerned not to just focus on the school fee, but to protect the image of the school portrayed to the people.
Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Umar, has disclosed that President Goodluck Jonathan has approved the dredging of channels of 5 seaports in the country to enable them accommodate bigger vessels from abroad. Umar disclosed this during the inaugural ceremony to mark the arrival of one of Maersk Line's biggest vessels, which berthed recently. The minister, who was represented by the permanent secretary in the Federal Ministry of Transport, Nebulisa Emodi, said that the 5 seaports include Calabar, Lekki and Badagry, Ege, Olokola and Ibaka. He noted that when completed, they would accommodate all kinds of vessels and thus make the nation the transport hub for large ship consignments in sub-Saharan Africa. He said the increase in volume of containers would reduce the time spent in importing goods from China and increase the trade volume between Nigeria and the Asian giant. Nigeria currently imports about 50% of its goods from China. You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Nigerians continue to travel
the city of Lagos.
There is still a poor level of
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west and around Africa. We break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV.
A 24-hour news station.
Thank you for being there. And for more information on our news and other programs, you can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Reach us on our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. Also on YouTube, www.youtube.com/CoreTV News /the news. And now outside Nigeria, United States President Barack Obama led an emotional tribute to the thousands of troops who gave their lives to liberate Europe from Nazism on the 70th anniversary of the D-Day landings that shaped the security and well-being of all posterity. Speaking at Omaha Beach in front of veterans resplendent in military uniforms, complete with medals. Obama says the sacrifice and bravery had breached Hitler's wall and secured today's era of democracy and freedom. After his speech, Obama warmly embraced a stooped veteran almost half his size before bowing his head alongside French President François Hollande at a wreath commemorating the thousands that fell on June 6, 1944.
We're returning here today to pay tribute to the men and women of a generation who defied every danger. Among them are veterans of D-Day. And gentlemen, we are truly humbled by your presence here today. These men waged war so that we might know peace. They sacrificed so that we might be free. They fought in hopes of a day when we no longer need to fight. We are grateful to them.
The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa has expressed concern on the slow pace of democratization in Africa. It's blamed the slow process on lack of trust in the electoral bodies mandated to conduct free and fair elections across the continent. The UN agency, in its third edition of Africa Governance Report, estimated that over 77% of Africans believe that the electoral bodies lacked the autonomy, credibility and funds to conduct neutral, free and fair elections. The report also attributed the failure of opposition political parties to measure up in contesting elections as among factors leading to low democratization in Africa, where the ruling parties maintain the winning spree. The agency and United Nations Development Programme compiles the report based on studies carried out in 40 African countries, including Nigeria. And that's it on the news for this hour. Join us again top of the hour for more reports. Thank you for being there. I am Ebolomo Adekunle.